Yo everyone, Dan Central here, and welcome to a brand new video. And I'm doing a tag response video. This is a video that I was tagged in yesterday by the broski, Shock16, who is an awesome dude. Very privileged to know him and be great friends with him. And he basically got tagged by the Retro Game Crusader and Owen, aka Labosu77, who is an awesome dude. I actually discovered his channel the first time round on YouTube before I had that massive long hiatus for about 6 months. And obviously I sort of rediscovered him again, and I need to get back on his videos as well as a lot of the other guys as well, so apologies people, but I have just been so busy, which is also why you've probably not seen a video for me for a few weeks at least, which again, I do apologise people, but I am still around. I do still have the passion for YouTube. I've just been, just incredibly busy. Work's picking up all the time now, which is great for me, which is what I'm striving to do. But obviously it just means that sometimes things have to take priority over other things, and YouTube is only there as a hobby. There are other commitments that are unfortunately going to take over and are more important as well. So apologies people, but I'm back today, and also I've got another new video lined up soon, which I'm going to be putting up at some point. Without giving too much away, there is something coming out very soon which I can't wait for, and once I get that I'll let you know what it is, and I'll show it on camera. A lot of you probably know what it is already because I've been going on about it on my Dan Central Facebook, Dan Central Gaming Facebook that is. So some of you may already know about it, but I can't wait. And I've also got another few pickups as well in addition that I'll show at the same time as well. Before I start as well, I just want to quickly show you guys this awesome new t-shirt that I've acquired. Went out on a spending spree the other day, bought loads of new t-shirts, and this is one of the ones that I've got that I absolutely love. And I'll probably wear some of the others in future videos as well, so that you can see. But basically, I love sort of funky t-shirts that have got like things like Los Angeles and New York and stuff on there, and because they're places that I'd love to go anyway. I do want to hopefully get abroad at some point, if not this year, then definitely next year, and start to visit more of the world, because I've not really been that far. I've only really been to Portugal, Menorca, and Malia. Malia was insane, but I want to get abroad a bit more as well. I've got some events planned throughout the year that I'm going to. And actually, very quickly before I do this video, if any of you guys are going to play Blackpool in May, 1st of May to the 4th, let me know, because I'm going. I'm going, Shock16's going, Gashead Steve's going, and Novabug's going, Aydan Watkins is going. And there's going to be loads of others that I can't wait to meet as well, because I've never met a lot of them before. So it's going to be absolutely insane. I'm going for all 4 days, so 3 nights, and I'm just so psyched for it. I really am. So there's going to be that. Revival's going to be at some point this year. I think they're doing a mini revival event because they can't get a big one this year. They're saving for next year. So whenever that happens, which might be, I believe, around November possibly, I'll be there as well in Wolverhampton, and other things as well. So if you're going to play Blackpool in May, let me know underneath, and I'm sure we can organise at some point to meet up and meet officially, and maybe get some pictures and some video footage as well, which would be sick. So cool. So anyway, let's get on with it, because otherwise I'm going to end up overrunning like crazy. So tagged by the broski Shock16 in this tag response video. I've actually got a portable heater in front of the camera, which you can't see. It's just in front to keep myself warm as well, because it gets really cold out here in the winter. So basically, I've got 5 answers to this, but the first one has got quite a few subsections to it, because they're all about Sonic, and I thought rather than make 4 of them about Sonic, which would be really boring, I'll make the first one about quite a few things of Sonic, all as one, and then I can then make the rest of it different, if that makes sense. So I'll try and smash through it as quick as I can. So, first one is, and some of these are a little bit embarrassing, but hey, no one's meant to give a crap, so here we go. I only completed Sonic 2 on the Mega Drive 2 to 3 years ago. I know. And especially being such a hardcore Sonic fan, you'd think I would have done it years and years and years ago, because the game's been out years. But I didn't complete it until about 2 to 3 years ago, which is really bad, quite shocking really. But basically my dog's down here by the way, but basically I just could not complete that last robot. The red robot at the end that kind of shuffles forwards and back, shoots his arms out, kind of levitates up and then falls back down again. I just could not defeat that bloody thing, and I just gave up in the end. And then suddenly, about 2 to 3 years ago, roughly, I can't remember exactly when, but I know it wasn't too long ago, I was just at a stage where this is, I was at a stage where I was thinking to myself, this is silly now. I've got to get this sorted. Sat down, focused, and finally I did it. So I got to watch the ending credits of Sonic 2 on the Mega Drive for the first time ever, because I'd never really caught them on YouTube or anything. So I got to sit and watch them physically for the first time ever, because I'd never done it. So it was just like, oh man. But yeah, about 2 to 3 years ago, I finally defeated the end boss on Sonic 2, and I'd never done it before then. So a little bit of embarrassing fact there, but there we are. The next one, which is again quite embarrassing, when I was a kid, I used to have to get my mum to do part of a level on Sonic the Hedgehog 2 on the Master System for me. Now the reason why I'm specifying consoles is because I've got things on both versions. So basically on the Master System version of Sonic 2, on the first act of the second set of levels, it's basically a hang gliding level. And the idea is that you have to run down the hill and Sonic will get a hang glider right at the end, and then the idea is that he then flies over quite a long gap, and then he basically eventually should land on the next ledge, and that's the end of the level. Then you can run through the turnstile. But I just couldn't do it. The idea is on the D-pad you're meant to keep pressing backwards, and no matter how much I tried to press backwards and how fast I was trying to do it, I could not get him to reach the ledge. He kept falling just before it. So I sort of gave up a little bit, and then somehow my mum managed to do it, because I got her to try it one day and she did it like first time, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So I got to a stage where obviously I can do it now, obviously. You guys are probably out there going, yeah, whatever, but he still gets his mum to do it, whatever. But no, I can do it now. But basically I used to have to get her to, so I'd get to that part of the level, she'd be downstairs like cooking dinner or whatever, and I'd be like, Mum, it's that level again, and she'd be like, oh, all right, I'm coming up. So she'd come up, grab the control off me, do it, get him over there, sort it, and then go right downstairs again. Then I'd kind of take all the glory off her, and then finish the level and then carry on. So yeah, the next one is I had to get my mum when I was a kid to do part of the level for me on Sonic 2 on the Master System, because I couldn't do it. Okay, next subsection of the first response. Why did I put this in there? I wrote this out last night thinking it'd be quite funny, but now I'm thinking, is it maybe going to be a bit too cringy? Okay, basically, when I was a kid again, I once did my own kind of do-it-yourself, if like DIY, radio show on Sonic Adventure. Basically, I used to have a portable sound system that took cassette tapes. Hear that noise? It's like an aeroplane or something. Let me shut the door, try and get rid of the sound. No, you can still hear it. So hopefully you can hear me. So basically, when I was a kid, I used to have a sound system. There it goes, it's flying overhead. Things you have to put up with when you're recording, eh? It's a bit like when Shock 16 does his videos and he has this bloody someone revving his car outside, and you just hit the record button and you get and you hear him as well. It's like kind of thing. So yeah, it's quite funny. So yeah, you used to have a sound system that took cassette tapes, and it had like a mic on it. So you press down, play and record together, and you could record your voice, and you could obviously play it back. So basically what I used to do is I used to press play and record so I could record my voice, and then I'd bring the sound. So basically I did a radio show once, so I brought up the sound select screen on Sonic Adventure, and basically I used to pretend that I'd made the music and stuff. Obviously I didn't, and obviously, copyright, don't do that. I'm not saying that at all, before anyone jumps on that. I was only young, I was like 11, 12, something like that. I pretended that I'd made the music, and it was my latest single coming out, and it'd be like, right, now this is the first hearing on the radio of my latest single, and that is Welcome to Station Square, out in October, pre-order now. And it was really cringy. And you used to get CD singles, and you used to get like double A sides where you'd have 2 tracks that had both been played like kind of back to back, if you like, on the radio, and they were both released on the same CD. Yeah, it'd be like that, but like, Welcome to Station Square, it's going to be a double A side with Speed Highway. Oh, excuse me. And I played both of them back to back, and then we're like, yeah, they're out on the 12th of October, pre-order now, and stuff like that. And it was just so embarrassing and stuff like that. And and I pretend I was doing interviews with people, and yeah, it was quite embarrassing. And the most cringy thing about it is I actually found that tape the other day. I was playing through some cassette tapes because I've got an old hi-fi upstairs in my room that I still have and never got rid of it. And it plays cassette tapes, and I was going through a few the other day, so they were just sort of old ones that had been sitting on the side. I was like, I wonder what's on them, and I found it, and I was just like, oh man. And obviously, because I was so young, my voice was really high pitched, and it was so cringy. And I also found a karaoke tape the other day as well that me, my brother, and my dad did years and years and years ago. And because obviously my brother's slightly younger than me, his voice was even more high pitched than I was. And just little things like that. Obviously great memories, and it's just funny to hear that and kind of look back and stuff, but at the same time very embarrassing as well. Because when you're that age, you just don't care, you just do whatever you think because you don't know any better. But now you can look back and you're sort of like, oh, did I really do that? And stuff like that. So yeah, I once did a kind of do-it-yourself radio show on Sonic Adventure, which was really quite embarrassing. And I played some of the tracks from the game because I love the soundtrack anyway, it's beautiful. I mean, I've got some piano covers of Welcome to Station Square and Windy Valley, Windy Hill on YouTube anyway if anyone's interested. But I also pretended that I was releasing them as CD singles and giving you release dates, and oh dear, yeah, because obviously that was before iTunes and stuff, so yeah, so there we go. Right, and the last subsection bit on Sonic for the first response is basically Sonic 1 and 2 on the Master System obviously aren't two players. Sonic 2 and 3 on the Mega Drive are, because you've got a two-player section, you can get obviously split screen, you can get one up there and someone else down there, and you can run along and see who can finish the levels the quickest. But on Sonic 1 and 2 on the Master System you can't. And I happen to own two Master System Model 2s, and also two copies of Sonic 1 and two copies of Sonic 2. So back in the day, when I still had them then, me and my brother, we actually got two different TVs. We put one on a bracket and one on a chest of drawers. They were quite small ones, so they're almost side by side. And we hooked up Master System 2 to one and a Master System 2 to another, and then we put a copy of Sonic 1 in one and a copy of Sonic 1 in the other. And basically turned them on at exactly the same time, pressed start at the same time, and then started running Sonic exactly the same time as well, so there was no cheating or anything like that, and basically just played it almost like it was two players on two separate TVs, running through the levels, see who can get the quickest, see who can complete the most, the most amounts of levels in the game and stuff, and it was just so fun. So although they're not two players, we kind of cleverly made it two players. So yeah, me and my brother, years ago, we actually hooked up two separate TVs and two separate copies of Sonic 1, and we did it on Sonic 2 as well on the Master System, and did our own kind of two-player of kind of running through the game on two separate TVs. If you get a chance to try that, guys, do it, because it's so much fun. You don't have to have a two-player game for it to be two-player, if you like. If you've got two, obviously it does mean getting two of the same console. Obviously it just depends if funds allow, but I just so happen to have, because I think my parents gave me one once, and then my uncle gave me another one, so I've just always had two. I think I only did it because I had that. I think if I only had the one, I wouldn't have gone out and bought another one. I think it's only because I had two anyway. So there we go. So yeah, there we go. Number 2, my uncle once found a Game Boy Color, a purple one, down the side of the seat on a bus. As you do. He was going, I think he was either going to work one day or going into town on the bus years ago. This is when Game Boy Colors were in fashion. And he was sitting there, he was on a window seat, so it was right near the window, and he just so happened to glance down, as you do, and noticed something down the side of the seat, something purple. So he reached his hand down, picked it up, and it was a Game Boy Color. And he's like, right, okay. So then next time he saw me, when I went up to my nan's where he was also visiting there, so we both ended up seeing each other, he said, do you want this? And I'm like, obviously you can imagine, especially when it's in fashion at the time, obviously I jumped up and down, I'm ecstatic kind of thing. Yeah, he gave me a free Game Boy Color, and I still got it to this day, so I never had to pay for my Game Boy Color. He just gave it to me. He said he found it down the side of a seat on the bus, and did I want it? So very random, but yeah, gave me it for free. And I bet the person that left it there was really gutted when they realised they'd left it behind. But it's gone to a good home, and it's been looked after ever since. And it's in great condition. So it has gone to a good home. But I bet the person that left it was really gutted, as I would be if that had happened to me. So yeah, I acquired it for free, and it was because he saw it on a bus. So there we go. Right, number 3. Now this one's awesome. Basically, my Nintendo GameCube, my original Xbox, my Sega Saturn, my Atari Lynx, majority of my NES games, and my NES Zapper, I all got for free and they all came from a tip. I'll explain. My brother had to go to the tip quite a few times, quite a few years ago, because he moved out, got his own place, and had to get rid of a load of stuff that was still in there from the previous tenants and stuff. So he basically rounded up a load of stuff that he didn't want, and had to take them to the tip. But he did it in a few trips and stuff. So he went several times to the tip, and basically he kept seeing these computer game systems. Either people were sort of getting them out of the car to throw away, and he stopped them before they threw them in the dumpster, or he would see like the odd one like that had been put down by the side of a bin and not actually been thrown in, so he just sort of picked them up. So basically, he saw an original Xbox, a Nintendo GameCube, and a Sega Saturn basically being thrown away, and managed to catch them before they went, and sort of said like, you know, can I have that kind of thing? And they're like, yeah, go on, take it, whatever. So he actually, while he was getting rid of his stuff, he acquired these systems and actually gave them to me. The Nintendo GameCube and the original Xbox worked perfectly, so I'm thinking, why did they not just sell it? But there we are. So I got those. The Sega Saturn unfortunately didn't work very well. It kept resetting itself and didn't sort of fire up properly. But I was very lucky because one of my good friends, Martin Murphy, who owned GameLink in Spalding in Lincolnshire a few years ago, until unfortunately it had to close down, he actually did a swap for me. He basically gave me a discount on a brand new one, or a fully working one, and I was able to sort of give him a 40. I think he was able to do something with the 41 anyway, try and get it back to working condition. So he then gave me some money off sort of a working one, and we did sort of a swap, which was really, really nice of him. So I managed to get a working Sega Saturn in the end, and the Atari Lynx, NES games, and the NES Zapper as well. Which actually, quite a funny story behind that as well. He came down one time to visit. And he reckons that he told me about all of this, like that he brought an Atari Lynx, NES games, and NES Zapper back with him, and they'd said to me about it, and I'd apparently said to him, okay, that's cool, leave them in the garage, and I'll go in there when I get a chance and have a look at them. I swear I never said that. As far as I can remember, I never said that. Why would I have said put them in the garage and I'll look at them later? I would have been like, give them here now, I want to play them now, kind of thing. You know, I wouldn't have said, you know, I'll look at them later. But he kind of reckons that I did, and then the next time he came down, he was like, Dan, did you get a chance to look at that Atari Lynx? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, that Atari Lynx that I said, you know, we're going to get a chance to have a look at? And I was like, what Atari Lynx? And I had no idea what he was talking about. And so he took me into the garage and was like, look, I left all this here for you last time. I thought you would have looked at it by now. And I'm like, what stuff? I didn't even know this was in here. So you can imagine my face. I was just like, shock, horror. Absolutely blown away by it. So we opened up this bag, and there's this Atari Lynx, all these Atari Lynx games, NES games. There's about at least 10 NES games in there, and a NES Zapper, which I'd never owned. So you can imagine I'm jumping up and down like a little kid in the garage, and sort of grabbed it all, sort of took it in the house and started playing on all of it and everything. But I knew nothing about it, and he thought that he'd sort of told me about it. So I don't know, I can't remember what had happened. Maybe he mentioned it and I was busy doing something and I didn't quite hear him, or it could have been anything. But basically, yeah, I eventually found they were in there. He eventually told me, and managed to get hold of an Atari Lynx. Now, I'm not a massive fan of the Atari Lynx, I'll be honest. It's not my era. But at the end of the day, you know, it's not bad for what it is. You know, I'm more of a Game Gear kind of guy, and sort of, you know, obviously going more current day, sort of obviously Game Boy Advance SP, and, you know, obviously DS and PSP. But sort of never really looked at the Lynx. Played it a few times. It's not bad. I had to buy an AC adapter for it because the batteries weren't very good on it. I bought some new ones and they were still quite temperamental. Sometimes it'd work and sometimes it wouldn't. And also I got about 6 games with it, and I think 1 or 2 of them didn't work and the rest were fine. So again, I wasn't too bothered because I got it for free anyway, and I'm not really a massive fan of the Atari Lynx anyway. But yeah, managed to get those as well, and I found out about those later than he thought he'd told me. So it's just quite an awesome moment for me to kind of realise that all this time they'd been in my garage and I knew nothing about it. So there we are. Right, how are we doing? Oh, hopefully I won't go any longer than 25 minutes. Right, let's go. Next one. Okay, so this is fairly similar, but also an amazing thing for me. Apart from the systems that my brother got me from the tip, most of my consoles that I own were handed down to me from my uncle. There's only the odd few that either I've bought or my parents have bought for me, but most of them my uncle actually gave to me. So things like the NES, the SNES, the N64, the Dreamcast, the Mega Drive, the Master System. Is there any more? One of my CDIs, Philips CDIs. I think there's probably most of them actually got handed down to me from my uncle, because he'd sort of get bored of them and then hand to me for free. So most of my consoles were handed, and that's also why I've got so many, because I wouldn't have had the funds to have bought them all, but because I just had them, my uncle would get bored quite quickly and be like, do you want this? And I'd be like, yeah, and he'd never ask for a penny. I was so lucky. He would just give them all to me, so that's why I've got so many, but yet I'm so lucky I've not had to pay for most of them at all. The only ones that I've paid for, I believe, are the Nintendo Wii, half towards an Xbox One, because my parents paid for the other half. And I think that's it. I think that's all I've ever paid for, is half of an Xbox One and the Wii. I think that's all I've ever paid for. The Xbox 360, the Game Boy Advance SP, and the PS2 and the PS1 were bought for us from my parents. And the other Philips CDI as well, because I've got two. Yeah. So I've only ever paid for like 1.5 consoles, if you like. It's bizarre. I'm so lucky. I'm actually really, really lucky. Do you know what? I don't take any of that for granted. I'm one of those people that's very humble, very grateful for everything I have, for the people that do stuff for me, and yeah, I don't take anything for granted. I've got some amazing people around me, family and friends, and to have that amount of consoles and not have had to pay for hardly any of them apart from the Wii and half of an Xbox One is completely just mind-blowing. If any of you have seen the pictures on my Facebook, on the Dan Central Gaming Facebook, you'll see how many I've got, and I've hardly paid for any of those. I'm so lucky. Yeah, I mean, the Nintendo DS and the PSP are my brother's, but he sort of left them at the house, so I can play on them whenever I want to as well. And just things like that. Oh, the Game Gear. Okay, I bought the Game Gear. Okay, fair enough. I bought a Game Gear. I keep thinking of stuff. I bought the Game Gear, the Nintendo Wii, and half of an Xbox One. So I've paid for 2.5 consoles, basically, and the rest have been either handed down from my uncle, or my brother got them from the dump, or my parents bought them for me. So I'm very, very lucky. So that's just another thing for me personally that's awesome. But again, you guys probably won't be that fussed about, but there we are. Okay, come on, Dan. Come on, Dan. Last one. Oh no, I've got another thing to quickly mention on that. Okay, yeah. On the Sega Saturn that my brother got from the dump for me, that I managed to switch with Martin Murphy at GameLink, I tried to get a Sega Saturn years before that, so I've only owned a Sega Saturn a good few years. But years ago, I tried to get one back then, but I went to the shop and saw it and put it on the counter to buy it, and the guys in the shop were like, I'm really sorry we don't have the leads for it. Aeroplanes flying over it. I think there's must be like a show going on or something. Don't get me wrong, it is frustrating when I'm trying to record a video, but honestly, I am totally respect to aircraft, and I know obviously they're doing important things and stuff, but still, it's just like, I just hope you guys can hear me. But I'm not trying to say that kind of thing too much, because obviously they've got to do a job. So respect. So yeah, basically, I tried to get a Sega Saturn years before I actually ended up getting one for my brother. But I put it on the counter, and the guys in the shop were like, "I'm really sorry we don't have the leads for it." And I'm like, "Well, why are you selling it then?" And they were like, "We don't know. We thought we had the leads." And I'm like, "Well, surely you would have tested it before putting it on the shelf, and you would have had the leads then to test it." And they were like, "Yeah, we would have done. Maybe we've lost the leads." And I'm like, "What?" So, and my nan was trying to buy it for me as well, and had to put it back on the shelf, and they had to get rid of it because didn't have the leads for it. So I was obviously really gutted, and then obviously, a few years later, managed to get one anyway from my brother. So yeah, basically, another thing I was going to quickly add was that a couple of years before I got the Saturn, I nearly got one then as well. So I nearly had one earlier than what I did. Okay, right, last one. This is a really, 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 really random, bizarre, funny, quite quirky one to finish on, actually. Basically, we're nearly at half an hour, sorry people. I've not put a video up in a while, maybe you can forgive that. And the fact that I'm Dan Central. No, I'm joking. Right, okay, last one. Years ago, when the PS1 was in fashion, we'd not long had the PS1, and my parents bought us a PS1 when it sort of first came out, and obviously loved the PS1, amazing, Crash Bandicoot, Tekken, rattling my brain now to try and think of good games for the PS1 that were out at the time. Obviously, just amazing games that they released on there. Absolutely awesome. Worms was on there as well. Just fantastic games. Basically, one day was playing the PS1, and my mum made me and my brother a roast dinner one Sunday, right? And we was both really young, and my mum was like, right, said to my brother, was like, right, okay, if you're going to have your dinner on a tray and not eat it up at the table, be careful and don't let it slide off the tray and fall onto the PS1 or all over the floor and stuff. Because she said, if you think you're going to do that, eat it up at the table. And my brother was like, no, I'll put it on a tray, And mum was like, well, you better not spill it, because I'm going to be so angry if you do. Otherwise, eat it up at the table. And my brother's like, a bit of a rebel back then. No, I'll be fine. Right, okay, whatever. Puts it on this tray. He goes walking into the living room. Obviously, I was like very careful, of course. Oh, excuse me, just got cough in my throat. And he's back again. I've had a bit of a friend during my video. He's been my friend, monitoring my video for me. So yeah. So yeah, basically, brother put it on a tray. And walking into the living room, what does he do? He stacks it over something. There must have been something lying on the floor or whatever. So it kind of was his fault, kind of wasn't, because I don't think he realised there was something on the floor. But anyway, tripped over this thing, right? The plate goes flying off the tray, hits the PS1, and because it's a roast dinner, it's full of gravy. So yeah, you can imagine, gross. Gravy all over it, stacks it, plate goes sliding off the tray, goes shooting across the room, smashes all over the PS1. I'm not even kidding you. All over the PS1. The food goes all over the PS1. The gravy goes all over the PS1. You know, all the ports you've got on the PS1. You've got the controller ports. You've got the ports on the back of the system. Goes sort of seeping sort of around those areas. So some of it's obviously gone in the PS1 itself. And the whole thing just smashes all over the PS1, and it's just covered in gravy and roast potatoes and Yorkshire puddings and vegetables and whatever meat we were having on there that day. Everywhere. Obviously, you can imagine my mum hit the roof. I hit the roof because obviously I love the PS1. I'm like, you just ruined the PS1, you absolute twat. Obviously, he's like panicking and everything, so we had to clear it all up. My mum grabs, because luckily the PS1 wasn't on at the time. Mum grabs the PS1, disconnects it, takes it outside the house, puts it like on the dustbin. She's like, that's never going to work again, Dan. There's no point. Don't even try it, because it'll only blow up. And I'm not having that. I'm like, I'm quite young, crying my eyes out, totally screwing at my brother. He's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, just screaming at him. That's it. No more PS1. Done and dusted. That's it. So my brother gets shouted at, mum's absolutely angry, I'm just proper pissed off, that's it, job done. PS1 is no more. Following day, my mum's at work, my brother's doing something, whatever. I come downstairs, grab the PS1 off the dustbin, and this probably isn't such a good idea. Thinking back now, maybe I shouldn't have done this, because it could have blown up, to be fair. Decide it's a good idea to wipe it down, all the bits that I can get to, all the ports and stuff, just get all the crap off it. Plugged it all back in again. Now, obviously, health and safety nowadays, yeah, not probably a good idea, because probably I would have gone up in a puff of smoke. But, yeah, plugged it all back in again, nothing blew, no sparks, nothing, cleaned it all up, and it worked. It bloody worked perfectly. I still have it nowadays, still upstairs, in my room, on the bookshelf, looks absolutely fine. Even though the plate smashed all over it, didn't even make any markings. If you look at it now, you can hardly see any scratches or anything. And that's it. Works perfectly. So my brother, he smashed his roast dinner all over my PS1 when I was a kid, and it still worked. Took a massive risk though, because I could have gone up in a puff of smoke, but nothing went bang, and it still works to this day. And quickly, on that note, when I was a kid, I was playing the Philips CDI once. I was about 8 years old. I had the controller plugged into the system, and I stupidly thought it was a good idea. I don't know why I did this. I honestly can't tell you because I was so young. While I was playing the Philips CDI, I acquired a nasty habit of biting the lead that went from obviously the controller into the system. I don't know why. Whilst it's on people, you know, this is how stupid I used to be, playing the Philips CDI and I'm biting the live wire that's coming out of the controller while I'm playing the Philips CDI. Why the hell would you do that? Why would you do that? Because I'm an absolute idiot, I did. So yeah, I was biting the wire, and I still did go up in a puff of smoke. And I think the controller still works to this day, although I did buy another one, but I think that one still works as well. It's now got black masking tape around it, which I don't think I've actually used it since, because it is a bit of a danger hazard. But yeah, I would also sit there when I was a kid and bite the wire. I managed to take the casing off, so you can see some of the like yellow and red, whatever it is, live wires in you know, underneath. Got rid of some of the outer casing with my teeth while I'm playing the game, and it still worked, and I didn't get electric shock or anything. Worked that one out. So there we go. I've gone on for way too long. I really do apologise, people. I always do this, but maybe even more so because I've not put a video up in a while. There's been obviously noise overhead, so yeah, obviously I can apologise, but obviously they've got a job to do, so it's just one of those things. It's just typical that when I go to do a video, it's suddenly then I can still hear it now. So I've had this throughout pretty much the whole video, so hopefully you were able to hear me okay. Thank you very much, people. I'll be back very soon for another pickups video, which I'm really looking forward to showing you guys this one. Yeah, and now I've finished the video, I bet you that'll quieten down now. But there we go. Thank you very much, people, and I'll see you very soon.